in Evansville, Indiana. A man says he's headed out to run an errand. But the inside of his vehicle tells a much different story. He's got a gun, a police scanner, and photos of his intended target.
It had been a normal day. I had cleaned the house and done a little bit of shopping at Target and then at the neighborhood Walmart. And then I was at home cooking. I was making mac and cheese and thick-cut pork chops.
Becky Dorr and Robbie Dorr were married. She stayed at home while he worked.
Are lined up and start a procession into town. Later find out that they were escorting Robbie's body to the coroner's office.
When little boys dream of or talk about their hero, sometimes they say Spider-Man. Mine was a true hero. He was a fireman. He was my dad.
He said he doesn't have any enemies. He's a firefighter.
Did Robbie have any enemies? He had at least one.
Are you going to take that down to the stop sign?
Well, I feel like we need to set a car up on this side.
Okay. I've got like 6 rolls in my car if you need them.
Oh, God, no. No, no. Oh, God, please, no. No.
We're going to walk around the back. They've got some crime scene tape up that we can't go through right now.
Once Robbie was pronounced deceased, the detectives that were arriving knew that they had to start talking to people. So the canvass began immediately, knocking on neighbors' doors.
Hi. Did you guys happen to see what happened out here earlier?
Sure did. We're just sitting there watching TV and just heard noise.
Well, you guys do me a favor and stay inside until we clear out.
Everybody was working for one goal, to figure out what happened to Robbie.
Did anybody hear or see anything?
All of us were here. We heard the shots, but we didn't see the vehicle. We knew something funny had happened.
I was in that, see that camper over there? I was in the garage, and I heard 5 shots go off. And it scared the out of me. I thought it was right outside my door.
So you were in the garage and heard 5 shots?
Yep.
You hear anything prior to that?
No, I sure didn't.
See anything suspicious afterward?
No, I mean, it scared me so bad I turned all my lights off. I didn't know if somebody was going around shooting or something.
The initial assessment, like moments after the shooting, we didn't have a clue what happened.
The detectives are still working on it, okay? I say I don't have a whole lot of information I can give you right now.
Well, someone must have drove down the street, perhaps maybe had an issue on the road with Robbie on his way home from work, and shot at him.
I call it an execution. We checked to see maybe if it was a carjacking, and then we could see with the video that the detectives located that, we ruled out a carjacking.
How could this have happened? Wrong person, wrong time, wrong place. Ran the whole gambit of everything. And for him to be taken out of this world in such a way that it's mind-boggling.
Robbie Dorr was invincible in Engine 1.
He was in it. He loved the fire department and just getting out there and helping people.
For nearly 3 decades, this beloved firefighter worked for everyone but himself. Today is the first day in all those years they've worked without him.
I'm sure you've seen the shot we have of Robbie that's really old of him when he had rescued a child from a burning building. He's a hero.
28 years he was on the force. Like, that's a lifetime. I mean, his dad was a fireman. So it's like a family tradition.
Firefighters typically have second jobs. He was a manager at Taco John's. He was doing that to just make extra money.
I quit my job to go be
a general manager at Taco John's, and that's how I met Rob.
I think the first thing he ever said to me was, "Hey, pretty lady." I miss that.
He had always loved my mom. I do remember Robbie coming to me saying, "Would it be okay if I went on a date with your mom? I know I've just kind of been the friend, but I want to be more than the friend." And I was like, "That's completely okay with me." And he was elated. You could see him skipping through my store.
Oh, I knew he loved Becky. There was no doubt in my mind. He was 110% in.
Our wedding was in Panama City Beach, Florida. Actually, it had rained every day when we first got there. And as soon as I started to walk down the sand, it stopped raining. So it was very, very pretty.
I was over the moon to have Robert as my dad. He stepped in to be a parent. My hero became my dad. Finally, I have this hero that I can call my dad. They were married for about 6 months, so very quick relationship, marriage, death.
Before Rob and I were married, I had been married 5 times.
I think that she wanted to have that picture-perfect life, the husband, the children, but just couldn't find it.
Rob was going to be the person that gave my mom a consistent life because my mom was born into adversity. Then she was put into a foster home that didn't have adequate resources to take care of her. She never really had a break until she was ultimately adopted.
I was 4.
My sister Mandy
was 2. My bond with Mandy, we were the 2 troublemakers of the house.
What was it like growing up with Becky?
She was my big sister. She was a good sister. We played, we traded stickers, we jumped on the trampoline, swam, got in trouble. She was the sister that comforted me. For 47 years, she was everything good and pure and wonderful.
Like my mom was trying to be like Jude Cleaver, perfect stay-at-home wife. But my mom and Robbie, their relationship, it had problems.
He started to question things.
It seemed normal to you? It seemed good?
It was fine until it wasn't.
Oh yeah, yeah. Robbie and I were, best friends for 34 years. And thick, thin, didn't make any difference. We were always there for each other. We've made a lot of runs together. Several fires. Robbie gave 110% on every run he ever made.
Dorr was shot to death outside his Oakley Street home last week. The investigation into his murder continues.
Shortly after the murder, police began searching Robbie's home. In the home, they find something of interest there.
It was a note from Robbie written to Elizabeth, and it talked about there being some problems in the marriage, perhaps someone else that Elizabeth had been talking to, alleged infidelity.
My dad seemed very happy at first, but then he started to question things. He started to feel insecure. He started to think she was cheating on him. He was like, she always deletes her text messages. Like, she never lets me see her phone.
Robbie had trust issues when it came to that because it had happened to him previously.
I tried to make him feel reassured. I would tell him every time somebody would call me. There were times that my oldest son would call me and he couldn't believe, "Oh, you're on the phone with him again?" And he just didn't understand.
My mother did confide to me about their relationship, sometimes a little too much, with too much information. But on that same aspect, so did Dad. Dad asked me to be his confidant. The financial aspect of things created some strain, created some problems between the two of them.
As soon as they got home from Florida, she had a brand new car. And then they got a brand new sectional. They had to buy a washer. He had a credit card out at Home Depot. He had a credit card out on the Ring.
He was borrowed as far as he could borrow. Money got real tight. She wasn't working, he was.
Our biggest disagreement was he wanted me to quit working because when he's off, that was our time to be together. And that's what he wanted. And I wanted to work. But as far as major trouble brewing, no. We were still learning each other.
You think Robbie was trying to make Becky's life better?
I do. I do.
Rob wanted my relationship with my sister Mandy to be stronger. So that was what we were trying to do by getting together with them.
When we started going out with them, I was kind of excited about it.
I would be off with Mandy and he would be off with Larry.
How did you meet your fiance, Larry Richmond?
I met him at work. I was working at the Dollar General. He made sure his hand touched mine. And I thought, golly, this one's bold. So we started talking, and a couple months later, he called one night and said, do you want me to bring my stuff to your house? We were together from that time on.
He pulled up in his car with all of his clothes and said he was moving in. And she was thrilled beans about it.
He was very, very tall. I think he was 6 foot something.
He has a nice smile. I will say that he was the most handsome out of the men that I've seen her date.
Larry was always really gentle with my mom. Like he was always like getting her things, like he was always doing things for her. I don't think I've ever seen her happier.
I just always felt loved. I came home one day and he had gone to the Goodwill and just laid out a bunch of dresses on the bed. It's like, oh, you know, he didn't even know what size I wore, but he was able to pick them, everything fit. I felt fancy. He was really close to his family.
Larry Richmond Sr. is very proud of his son, Larry Richmond Jr.
They were 2 peas in a pod.
So you bring him to Thanksgiving, introduce him to your family, but you don't tell them about his past.
No.
Why not?
It felt like a mean thing to do to him. That's not how I wanted everybody to see him. That's not who he was to me. That's not who he was trying to be. Larry had his history. He told me when he was 17 years old, he accidentally killed a man and did 20 years for it.
Well, he actually pled guilty to knowingly killing a person.
How did he explain it?
He said he was trying to get the guy to show him his ID because he believed that the guy had done something inappropriate to one of his friend's brothers. And he said that in the process of trying to see the guy's ID, the gun went off.
At first I was like, oh, that's not great. But then slowly, my mom convinced us. She was like, he's a changed man. It was an accident, you know, he's a great guy, which he was. From our perspective, he was a great guy. So yeah, after a while, I just kind of pushed it to the side, I guess.
Does Mandy fall in love easy? I would probably say yeah, she falls in love very easily. I do too.
My mom's life had just turned around that it was going to be, you know, wonderful, things are great, and then all of a sudden your world comes crashing down.
The Evansville Police Department have not identified any suspects.
As far as lists of people that want to hurt Robbie Dorr, we couldn't find a single one.
It's not until we're at the autopsy when we discover something odd.
That is a whole heck of a lot of coincidences.
This has been one of the biggest stories I've covered in my career. Anytime a first responder is hurt, let alone murdered, I mean, that is a big deal, especially here in the Evansville area. We regard our first responders very highly around here. And this, from the very beginning, the community was invested in this story.
So that night on Oakley, we did not find any shell casings. We found in the road a fired projectile that had damage to it.
That's not a casing, that's an actual round. That's a round, yeah.
It's not until the next day when we discover something odd.
And it really started with the autopsy. Had a great forensic pathologist that did the autopsy.
When they pulled ammunition from Robbie's body, there was a mixture. There were jacketed projectiles, there was ball projectiles, and there was plastic wadding. One of our firearms experts said, well, you're probably looking at a Taurus Judge that fires different types of ammunition in one gun. You could shoot a projectile, or you could shoot a shotgun shell, and it all came from the same firearm. A Taurus Judge was referred to us as a hand cannon.
Robbie was shot with a very unique gun. That kind of got us off and running, really. Okay, you basically start a war room. You have a big whiteboard, and you put your victim in the middle of that. And then you put a picture of his wife and draw an arrow next to her, victim's wife, child, best friend, and then you just start building that out. And then you want to look at that board the most and say, okay, who started on the outside but is maybe moving more towards your victim?
We discovered that a Taurus Judge was stolen, actively stolen from a pawn shop nearby called River City Pawn Shop.
This company, River City Pawn, played a pretty big role in this investigation because Larry Richmond Jr. worked there and had access to many firearms.
He's a young man with no criminal record. So we go back, printed out Larry Richmond Jr., put him on our whiteboard.
We came across a picture that had a Taurus Judge in his lap, and he just sent it to other friends, just showing off the gun that he stole in September of 2018.
The connection with Larry Richmond Sr. was that he had a direct connection with Jr.
When we put Larry Sr. in the system, Detective McCormick ran a criminal history on him and found out, oh my gosh, he's on probation for murder.
I know it's supposed to make me scared of him. I know it's supposed to make me hate him. I know what it's supposed to do, but it doesn't. He was never scary to me. He was my protector.
Mandy was in the middle. She was in a romantic relationship, living together with Larry Richmond Sr., and she was the sister of Elizabeth Fox Dorr, and they all lived relatively close to one another.
Well, Mandy is my sister. She is 3 years younger than me. Her personality is she's very outgoing. She is, I don't mean it disrespectful, but she's ditzy. Very ditzy, very, you know, I don't think a whole lot bothers her. She's a good person.
The funeral was...
And we're gonna explain it.
We'll get to all that.
And all be okay.
Whatever's going on in your mind, I can guarantee you, it's nothing. It's not a big deal at all. Okay? Where were you at when Robbie was murdered? Do you remember?
When, I don't know exactly when it was. Can you tell me when it was?
It was last Tuesday. Around 7 o'clock.
I was home.
You were home? Okay.
We go along. Your kids there, Larry there. Yeah, we were all there.
Investigators asked her where Larry was at the night of the murder. She reported that he was with her the entire night.
Hey, Mandy, do you know something that we don't?
I filled him in the Twilight Zone. This is what you watch on TV. This you watch this happen to people on TV, not to your family.
I think Mandy really believes in this man and believes that he can better himself.
It's sometimes our benefit to grab all individuals that are involved in a case at the same time.
Agent Bill Gray picked Larry Richmond Jr. up from the pawn shop when he got off work that night and brought him downtown. I had some questions for Larry Jr. as far as stealing the firearm and giving it to his dad.
We have 2 more people down here now involved in this case. And one is your dad.
Okay.
And things aren't looking so good here.
Okay.
What do you know about this gun?
It came up missing the day of or a couple of days before I started at the pawn shop.
That's not true. I've talked to the regional manager, I've talked to the ATF guys. That's not exactly the way it's going down. The gun came up missing while you were an employee.
Yeah, yeah. I was sitting in the pawn shop, and then somebody came up and said that there was a gun outside. And then we called it in, and
Larry Richmond Jr., he lies that he didn't know about the gun, he didn't steal the gun.
I got some bad news for you, son. I think you're heading down the same path your dad's heading. I don't think things are going to work out too well here. So just hang tight a couple minutes and...
To my knowledge, I don't believe that Elizabeth knew that the others were in custody.
After the funeral was over, Detective Keene and Detective Hands came and asked me. They said that they had a phone of mine and they had the key to my house. They would like to ask a few more questions.
Detective Keene ran the first whole part of the interview, going back over what they talked about that night, confirming everything she said.
Okay, so you get home in the forecourt shop, so you get those ready.
I just had the oven preheating, and I was getting ready to, get the mac and cheese. I was getting it out of the cabinet, and I saw the truck lights come into the driveway, and then I heard these popping noises. Then I looked out the door. I saw Rob at the end of the driveway, shoved the dog back, closed the door, and went running down the driveway.
We felt that she was hiding something.
And then when I showed her the raw data from her phone download.
Do we know who this number is right here?
I don't recognize it.
They were showing me phone numbers, but there was no name to a phone number, and I kept telling them I don't know that phone number.
Leading up to Elizabeth's interview, we had gathered cell phone records, actual cell phone device records, and we knew there was a deleted phone call right before a 911 call.
But you can't delete it off the company records, and this is the company records. This is straight from Sprint.
I understand that.
Okay.
I don't recall talking to someone like 5 minutes before Rob was killed.
I knew that was a lie. So then you just kind of go, okay, why is she lying then?
I've been honest with you from the get-go. That's all I ask of you is your honesty, okay?
Yeah, I understand that. I don't recall talking to someone like 5 minutes before Rob was killed. I don't.
You were able to tell us down to the cents how much you paid for your pork chops earlier that day at Walmart, but you can't remember who you had a phone call with just prior to your husband getting executed in your driveway. Just didn't ring right to me at all.
Let me finish. Cannot change what happened, but you can change it from how it goes on here now by telling the truth. Do you understand what I'm saying?
I do.
Okay, so take a deep breath and tell us who you talked to 5 minutes before your husband was killed in your driveway, getting out of his truck in the back of the head. We're asking you questions we know the answers to, Becky.
This is the Evansville Police Department adult interview suite. We have 4 interview rooms available to us. Throughout our time interviewing these subjects, we were determined that we were being lied to, there were inconsistencies in stories, and it took a good long while to start getting things sorted out where we had a good idea of what was happening.
When you're in the interview room and they're lying, you try to never take police work personal.
I honestly did not recognize the phone number.
Okay. You just have to keep confronting them with the facts, and you just slowly work through the case.
Just let it out. Just tell us the truth. You didn't orchestrate it, then
I
what happened?
didn't.
What's your, okay, then you didn't orchestrate it.
I didn't know it was
Then
gonna
tell us the
happen.
truth.
And the questioning was, had you ever deleted anything off of your phone? And when she says no, the information I had in my file folder at the time, I knew that was a lie.
Nothing in that conversation had anything to do with hurting anybody.
Why delete it then?
Because I typically delete.
I deleted the phone call. I delete my phone calls every time I get off the phone with somebody, unless I talk to you regularly.
She deletes, she will send a text message and then she will delete it. I don't know why.
If you look at the timeline of the deleted phone call, just minutes before Robbie's killed and the 911 call's made. So that's a big deal.
So who did you talk to 5 minutes before your husband was gunned down in the driveway? Becky, we know the answer. So you can let us do the talking for you, or you can do the talking for yourself. And please tell the truth. So who was it?
My sister's fiance.
Elizabeth had deleted all of Larry Richmond Sr.'s phone calls in her phone.
You knew. Not only did you know you talked to him that night, you knew you deleted it, and then you knew I was going to ask you about it when we came back in here.
It's human behavior to try to protect yourself, or like, oh my gosh, I'm into this, how am I gonna get out of it? Maybe if I just stick with these lies.
I didn't want you to think that I was having an affair with him because I have not had an affair.
The way the interview went with Becky Fox Dorr, was it a perfect interview? No, because we didn't get her to truly confess. I think it was the next best thing.
I didn't want to say that I had talked to him because that makes it look like I did it.
She was denying the phone call, admitted she denied it. She knew she deleted the phone call. She hid it from us.
New developments tonight in the murder of a firefighter in Indiana.
Robbie, the phone call she allegedly received before calling 911.
That moment was a moment of, could she? Would she? Why would she? It was a whole gambit of emotion.
Elizabeth was originally charged with the obstruction of justice. She soon was out on bond.
Larry Jr., what's up, dude?
Larry Jr. was walking a fine line between going to prison for a very long time and not. And it wasn't until much later in the same evening that he knocked on the door and said, hey, I need to talk to investigators again because I need to tell them something. He tells investigators, my dad has guns at Mandy's house.
My dad said if anything was to go down, he would bury them up.
It is said that Larry Richmond Sr. had buried a tote full of guns in the backyard of Mandy's house where he was living at the time. He's even caught on video doing this.
The detectives came across a surveillance system from the house just directly to Mandy's, Larry's fiance's house, some type of utensil, and going behind the garage, and then coming back empty-handed.
One morning, I wake up, I'm sitting in the living room, and all of a sudden, there are police cars everywhere. That whole block, this whole block of Sheffield was full of police cars. And I'm like, get up here, see, look what's going on.
And they searched the whole grounds, and when they got to that fire pit, they started digging. And they almost dug every square inch back here. I mean, they dug everywhere. Hung over the fence, and I said, what's going on? He says, well, we're hunting for stuff. And then I saw some guns in the other policeman's hand. I said, oh, that's what you're looking for. And he goes, yeah, we found several where the fire pit was.
That box was taken to headquarters, and you could have heard a pin drop. They did it right. Our crime scene detective came in and then slowly started processing that box, and we're all like, please take out a tourist judge or tourist judge ammunition.
I remember being in the newsroom that day and hearing on the scanner that the police were at the home and they had found some guns, but not the murder weapon.
The murder weapon in Robbie Dorr's murder has never been found.
So at this point, police still do not have a murder weapon. They have not named a suspect. So we're wondering, what is their next step?
I found something that raised the pinnacle of all flags. I mean, I can't even call it a red flag. It's like the sirens going off. There was a handwritten message that said, we need to talk.
He was my best friend.
He was the person I called when I was having a bad day. He was the person I called if I had a flat tire on the side of the road. If I just needed to talk, it was him. When my dad passed away, we were not in a great place. Me not liking Becky put a very big strain on our relationship. I wish he would have saw it. I wish he would have listened to me when he said it was going too fast. It's a lot of I wish.
When my mother was arrested, I was like, no, they have the wrong person. This can't be. This is the woman who's helped raise me. No one ever thinks of their parent to be that person. The puzzle pieces kind of started to fall into place. After the funeral, I was going through the condolence cards, and I came across one that was from my Aunt Mandy. I didn't quite know what to think of it at first, but it was that guttural instinct that said, this is not right.
Like I said, my name's Anthony, detective.
I need to get a hold of someone, and I didn't have anyone to get a hold of except for one detective. I was going through condolence cards.
Okay.
And I found a card from Larry Richmond and my Aunt Amanda. And there was a little slip of paper, like notebook paper, that said we need to talk, with his phone number and Larry. It looks like he had written it on the corner of like a notebook piece of paper and ripped it out.
So
and
it's
then,
more kind of the last second
thing. It wasn't written in the card. I think it was put in after, like Mandy and him signed it.
Okay.
Because he's the one that presented it to my mother. He gripped that thing all the way up until it passed into my mother's hand.
I don't know why he was trying to reach out that way. It doesn't make sense to me. He was standing right there when he handed it to us, so he could have just said what he needed to say right then.
Okay, I'll be back in just a minute.
Okay. That day, they asked me if I knew that he had criminal history, and I said no, and they told me everything that he had done. That's kind of odd that we have a murder, 20-year sentence, he's out for 1.5 years, and then another murder happens. Nobody knew that he had a criminal past. At Thanksgiving,
My Aunt Mandy brought a convicted felon to a Christian household and had dinner with everybody and didn't tell a single person that he had just gotten out of prison for murder.
On that piece of paper was a phone that Larry Richmond Sr. was in possession of at the time of his arrest. He got that phone from a person named Laura Riggle. During our investigation, we did talk to Laura Riggle.
We would like to know, more about the nature of yours and Larry's relationship.
Larry and I got to know each other more, I should say. It was in December before Christmas we started talking. And then we actually started seeing each other in January.
You said seeing each other, you mean like going on dates and stuff like that? Okay.
And I do know he lives with Mandy.
Uh-huh.
She does not know.
So what was gonna happen between him and Mandy?
They were breaking up.
Through the course of our investigation, there were several women who were romantically involved with Larry Richmond Sr. Around the time of the murder in February of 2019.
What about him and these other women he messes with?
I didn't know about the others.
What motive do you think that he could have for doing something if he did it?
I can't imagine him doing it. There is no motive.
The first night that we had contact with Mandy, she was a mess.
I don't know. I'm not a troublemaker. I don't know.
And then the next time we had kind of built a little bit of a rapport with her.
So let's go back further to the day that Robbie gets killed. To your best recollection, where's Larry?
Mandy, why did you tell investigators that Larry was with you at home that night?
Larry there? Yeah, we were all there. We were all there.
Kids, Larry.
Because he was with me all the time. He was there every night. I didn't know what night they were talking about.
The night of the shooting.
But I didn't know what night that was.
But that's what they were talking to you
I
about.
thought they meant, did he come home that night? Yes, he came home that night. I knew this was bad, but my first inclination wasn't, oh, what'd you do?
So they tell you a lot of what's going on.
Oh,
they reveal
yes.
some things to you.
Oh, yes.
So
I
let's.
thought he was cheating on me.
Okay. I can tell you he was with a lot of women, and we've had one just walked out of here, and we had one in here last night. Okay. So you're not the only one in this trick bag.
So you had another life going on,
Yeah. Girlfriends.
plural. Yeah. You don't think he was using you?
No. For what? For what? I'm a train wreck. I got this heart about all I have to offer.
Okay. Do you have any other suspicions that Larry and your sister had anything going on? Okay. Your sister is in custody for deleting a phone call that was very important. And there's a 5-minute phone call right before Robbie's murder. I mean, minutes before Robbie's murder. And guess who that came from? Larry. What do you think's going on between Larry and your sister?
I thought we went out with him 3 times. That's what I thought.
Were your sister Becky and Larry having an affair?
That is the word.
After the murder, Amanda Fillmore was never a suspect, and police found her to be telling the truth.
Mandy was never charged with anything in this case. Mandy was deeply in love with Larry Richmond Sr. In her mind, that Larry had nothing to do with this.
Looking back, it was very apparent. My mom had something to do with it. When one of your first question is, after your husband dies, what about his pension?
I called her in a fit of anger, a murdering.
The day after the murder, we were told by a spouse of a firefighter. She had showed up at the firehouse asking about his pension.
Yes, I did ask about the pension after he was killed because I had so many people asking me about his pension and his life insurance. That's why I went where I thought that I could find those answers.
The fact that she was there the next day inquiring about a pension, that was definitely on our radar. Larry Richmond Jr. told us a lot about Larry Sr.
I'm going to give you the floor here for a second, and I want you to tell me anything that you left out from the other night. Do you think your dad's involved in the murder of Robbie?
I hope not.
As far as Junior, it all didn't come out at one time. We didn't know about the affair until later.
Has he ever talked about Becky before?
He said one time that they went out to Pistons, and like, yes, Becky was drunk, and like, the firefighter dude was there too, and they was just dancing and doing all this, and Becky kept looking at him. He said she was cute and fine. Dog, that's your girl sister. What are you doing? I was like, did you Becky? He was like, no. And then I asked him again. He was like, man, I had to. I was like, dog, you were down bad.
An Evansville father and son are facing federal weapons charges.
Junior, he did something terrible by stealing a gun, but he did take responsibility for it and eventually pleaded guilty. He didn't have any part in the murder.
Larry Sr. was convicted for possession of a handgun by a felon and having obliterated serial numbers. He was in custody, so we just kind of say, hey, let's slow everything down. He's not a threat to society.
I thought it would be a simple, speedy process. And here we are 1 year later. The police. It didn't feel like they were making headway on what happened. And that's when my anger started to really set in.
My mother got another boyfriend very quickly. And then she very quickly after that, almost like the next day, got another boyfriend. I have had several strong words about my mother in private, talking with a therapist, with police.
She's engaged again.
Engaged again?
Yes.
And like we just discussed, it hasn't even been a year.
Correct. She had like 2 boyfriends before this gentleman.
My oldest son, Nathan, misunderstood the situation.
I was not engaged to a man after Rob died. I did have somebody ask me to marry them, but I told them that I didn't think that I would ever get married again.
Mom, what's that on your hand? She was like, oh, nothing. I called her, in a fit of anger, a murdering.
To her face?
I said to her face.
I believe it was a year into the case. Lead investigator Blake Keene did a press conference.
What's the person of interest in this case?
He identified Larry Richmond Sr. as a person of interest.
41-year-old Evansville resident, Larry Holly Richmond Sr. Richmond Sr. had a relationship with the Dorr family at the time Robert was executed.
We were pleading for the public to, if they knew any information, to call in.
There was the news conference, and then we didn't hear much at all after that.
I'm glad they have a person of interest, but where do we go from here?
There's then a big development in this case. An inmate who was locked up with Larry Sr. told investigators that Larry Sr. confessed to killing Robbie.
Muhammad reached out to the Evansville Police Department. He reported that Sr. and him had confided in each other. They were bunkmates.
This is Detective Keene and Detective Lewis. It is August 25th, it's around 16:43 hours. I'm here with Muhammad. Who are you talking about? Larry Richmond? Holly Richmond? Yeah. Okay. He mentioned he killed a firefighter in Evansville, Indiana. He said he saw Robert in front of his house at nighttime. He had an affair with her. He said if they get rid of Robert, he said the life beneficiary will be like him.
It appeared that the information from Muhammad was somewhat accurate according to our theory of the case. There was information that was not shared publicly that was known in what he had reported.
How is this cell person supposed to know that we're having an affair? Did he witness it, or are we just grasping at straws? I never had an affair with Larry Richmond Sr., never. There was nothing between us.
Person of interest in this case, investigators want to get a hold of his cell phone to see if it could hold any clues.
Our hypothesis is that Larry Richmond Sr. had his phone on him and that the location data can put him at the scene of the crime at 7:05 p.m. Unfortunately, we didn't have that information. Larry Richmond Sr. did not want to provide a passcode to the phone.
There was frustration. The family was frustrated. We were frustrated. We felt like we were close, and you just needed this one big break to really push this case forward.
Rob was a firefighter. It's not the kind of case that just goes cold. Everybody wants an answer.
It was very trying. It's frustrating. It's heartbreaking. It feels like an eternity.
Have the content.
Utilizing the digital evidence that we discovered from his phone, we were able to build a bigger picture of what had occurred that night.
In the 6 o'clock hour, Larry Richmond Sr.'s phone is all within that area of the Dorr residence, as if he's just slithering, snaking around. There's foot traffic, and then eventually in the alley from 6:31 to 6:39.
This guy is able to be in the alley at the exact time a fireman comes home.
Shortly after, he's talking to Elizabeth on the phone at 6:46 to 6:51.
In the interview with Becky Fox Dorr, we got her to admit that, yes, I told him he would be home shortly.
We don't know where Larry's location was between 6:52 and 7:14 because his phone is powered off. It's not until you actually came to this alley and saw it with your own eyes you can really understand now where he was. This is the path that Robbie took the last moments of his life. He would have turned north here on Oakley to get to his house. This was not a normal time for Robbie to be coming home.
He was picking up his shift for someone else, which was also important because it meant he came home at night. Normally his shift would dictate that he would work and come home in the morning.
And there was only one person that would know that Robbie's on his way home or what time he's expected home, and that's Elizabeth.
As far as her cooking that night and preparing dinner for Robbie, in my personal opinion, Robbie Dorr was never going to eat those pork chops that night. I truly believe that this timeline was set up.
Fact is this, she's at home, she's making dinner, there's someone waiting, Larry, with a gun. My dad pulls into a driveway, and he literally, quite literally runs out of his shoes to get away. To get away. I don't think his door was even shut before shots started going off.
I don't know how to explain Larry Sr., the evidence, digital, of him being around the house. I don't know how to explain that. I do know that his mother lives very close by, like I think a street over. All I know is I did not know he was around the house.
I think that she 100% knows what happened on that conversation with Larry.
911. Yeah, I just heard shots fired. First Avenue, Colorado. It's the alley behind. How many did you hear? 5.
The night that Rob got murdered, Larry said he was gonna go to his mom's house and move some furniture. Long story short, I get there, he's not there. He's gone to run an errand for his mother.
We had a residence here that heard the shooting. They heard all 5 shots and stepped out onto their front porch and watched a subject sprint from one side of the street to the other and disappearing between homes and businesses. At 7:11 p.m., video surveillance shows that he's arrived at Circle K, and he powers his phone back up while he's at Circle K at 7:14 p.m. And once we reviewed that video surveillance, we noticed, it's February, it's cold, and Larry is only wearing some shoes, some jeans, and a sleeveless t-shirt. We thought that was a little odd, but it seemed to us that Larry didn't have a care in the world.
We never stop on cases, and especially on a murder case.
We had to take all of the different pieces, provide what our theory was, essentially, and then allow a jury to decide.
A short while ago, Larry Richmond Sr. and Elizabeth Fox Dorr were charged with the murder of Robbie.
When they finally told me they were going to charge both of them with murder, I was like, well, all right, let's go. We've got this.
It absolutely led our news that night.
Fox Dorr is charged with murder alongside Larry Richmond Sr.
I didn't do it. That is the truth. I didn't do it. If you're asking me if I shot and killed Robbie Dorr, no, I did not.
Your son says you smashed that. Talking about Becky.
Never.
Come on.
Never. Never happened. Never happened.
Oh, I was very surprised to be charged with murder and conspiracy to commit murder. I was shocked.
They don't want you to listen to the truth. I felt like I just listened to a screenplay of a crime novel that was based entirely on fiction.
I held my aunt's hand and I held Nathan's hand and I closed my eyes. And tears just start flowing.
We, the jury, find the defendant guilty of count 2.
Like, that is all we could have ever hoped for.
Thank God this is done. Thank God Dad can rest peacefully.
When I heard the guilty verdict, I couldn't believe it. They got it wrong. They got it wrong. And all I could think was, this is my life you're playing with.
Becky would later be sentenced by a judge, 90 years
in prison. So basically, she will be spending the rest of her life behind bars.
It's horrible. I mean, I'm not guilty. There are people that are guilty and say they're guilty that get way less time than I'm looking at.
The next time that she is going to be a part of the free world will be in a funeral in a graveyard somewhere.
Everybody just has this idea that she's this villainous woman that was out for money, and I want more people to see the actual good side of her, the kind of person that she actually is. It's not adding up. There's something missing.
It's awful to watch people that you love suffer the consequences.
And do bad things.
Mm-hmm.
Do you believe your sister Becky plotted to kill Robbie?
I don't think that it matters what I think.
You don't have an opinion about whether Becky and Larry plotted to kill Robbie?
The rational part of my brain says it would appear such, but I think the irrational heart is still begging the universe for a different answer.
Police say back in 2019, Richmond conspired with Elizabeth Fox Dorr to murder Robert Dorr in the driveway of his home. His trial in the murder case is set to begin in December.
I got a call from the state public defender. They were looking for someone who was qualified to handle a life without parole case.
She sent me an email and said, would I be interested? I said, well, this might be one of the only times I get a case like this, so let's give it a shot.
The murder trial of Larry Richmond Sr. He's the man accused of shooting and killing Evansville firefighter Robert Dorr.
During Becky's case, we heard all this testimony and saw a lot of the evidence at that time, so we knew what to expect going into this one.
The whole conceit of the state's case is that this was a murder for hire.
Day 2 of testimony in a high-profile murder trial in Evansville. Today, jurors heard from someone at the center of the case.
You know, we're relying heavily on witness testimony. So Mandy, the night of, where is Larry Richmond?
Larry's trial, what was that like?
Just sad.
And the essence of what you said at the stand, what was it?
That I didn't know where he was.
That you didn't know where he was?
That he wasn't at his mom's. But like I said, he came back so fast, I didn't think anything of it. Like.
So they tell you the phone is pinging at the scene of the crime, and then you see him going into that gas station. What conclusions do you come to?
He was going to get cigarettes.
I think that she was having problems, and maybe still is, grasping that he did this, but I just found her to be just honest and open and able to tell the jury her story because she was telling the truth.
Larry was never at the Fox Dorr's house during the time of the shooting. He's at his mom's house the entire time. Larry was involved with a lot of women, so his phone was constantly ringing. And so mom had said, hey, turn your phone off, spend time with me. And then he goes to get gas, turns his phone back on, and then we see him at the gas station.
This is a circumstantial evidence case, and the evidence was just piled up high against their client.
The fate of an Evansville man is now in the hands of a jury.
I think they deliberated for around 11 hours or so.
We, the jury, find the defendant, Larry Ollie Richmond, guilty of murder.
I was hurt. I was sad for Larry because that was not what I had envisioned. I had not envisioned hearing one word. I had envisioned hearing 2 words.
This is the end, and we can finally be able to put this past us and be able to just grieve the way we need to instead of it being thrown in our face constantly.
The man convicted of killing an Evansville firefighter 7 years ago will spend the rest of his life in prison.
Ooh, some days I'm madder than hell. It was 7 years ago. I have to, sometimes I just have to put it in the past and be like, okay, this is where we are now. He does not say he does it. He to this day did not do it.
Well, then you understand he's lying to you.
Right. And himself.
People watching this are going to ask, what keeps her connected to Larry after everything you've been through?
After everything happened, my mom was angry, but she still loved him. And I don't think she has ever stopped loving him.
People watching this are going to ask, what keeps her connected to Larry after everything you've been through?
I think over the course of time, I've been through so many ups and downs with do I believe it, don't I believe it? And then I'm talking to him and he's convinced me that he didn't do it, and then I get more information. And it's just, I've gone back and forth so many times that I've just decided that he's another human being that God has given me to love.
Is he seeing anyone else?
I don't know, probably. I hear that's what the inmates do, but I have no way of knowing. I don't ever know.
Would that matter to you?
No.
So you're still sort of together. You're still
Yeah. Well, yeah.
engaged.
Yeah. But yeah. But I'm also, God, I just feel so stupid when I talk about it, but I get what I need from him.
From Larry?
Yeah. He wants to talk to me in the morning. He wants me to tell him when I'm home safe from work. He has begged me not to leave him. He says he needs me, and I want to be loved and wanted and needed and all the things.
You regret bringing him into your family?
I mean, yeah, look at us now.
This whole case is built upon one thing, a deleted phone call.
I don't know if my life would have unfolded differently if I had just told them about the phone call. They still, I think, honestly, I think I'd still be in the same spot. They would still think that we had had an affair. They would still think that, you know, I conspired. They grabbed a hold of me and didn't let go.
Becky was loving. Becky was love, you know? Becky's not evil. Becky's not a monster. Becky's not all these things everybody thinks she is.
Do you talk to her?
No. I mean, I wrote her a letter and I told her that if it was true that I forgave her, and that if it wasn't true that I was sorry this was all happening.
This is still very hard to take. I mean, all of this, because to realize that this is my life. Rob was a sweetheart. He was a good person to everybody. He became my best friend. And I miss him every day.
At the Evansville Fire Department, their newest fire truck then, they dedicated that in honor of Robbie. He has a fire engine that will do what he used to do, roll up to the scenes now and protect people and save people's lives.
Dad can finally rest. He deserved more than what he got. He deserved not for that to happen.
I'll never be able to call him. I'll never get to hear his voice.
What is that, man?
I'll never get to hug him again.
He should still be here with
No matter if it's a parent, a sibling, or a friend, talking about loss with kids can be a tricky subject.
Joining us now is author of Are You With Me?, Corey Richens. And Corey, I want to start with your story. What happened in your personal life?
So my husband passed away unexpectedly last year. He was 39. It completely took us all by shock. We have 3 little boys, 10, 9, and 6.
And it's only been a year. How did you go from processing death to I need to write a book and help others?
You know, I just watched the struggle that my kids were going through and trying to find something that we could use to cope at nights. Nights are the hardest, it seems like, for everybody when, you know, dealing with anything. But I just wanted some story to read to my kids at night.
I was reading it, and I remember I just was in tears, and I thought, like, this is perfect for your family. It just seemed perfect. And so I was just baffled at how she even had the time to do that.
And it's, you know, explaining to my kid just because he's not present here with us, that doesn't mean his presence isn't here with us, and he's doing these things with us.
Viewers at home, what they saw in that interview was this bereaved young woman who tragically lost her husband.
Like, Dad is still here, it's just in a different way.
But this would be just the beginning of the story, and boy, was there a lot more coming their way.
And we're clear. All right, good job, everyone. Let's get ready for headlines.
911, what's the address of the emergency? My husband's not breathing. He's cold. Okay, tell me exactly what happened. I don't know. I just came in. I was sleeping with my kids. Okay, I can't understand you. I need you to take a deep breath. What's going on?
It's a little after 3 in the morning, and Corey Richens calls 911 saying her husband Eric is not breathing and is cold to the touch.
Okay, can you do CPR? You don't know. I'm going to tell you how to. Are you willing to do CPR? Yeah. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Count out loud so I can hear you. I'm counting with you. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Officers are dispatched to the scene. Paramedics and firefighters are already there when they arrive.
In those first few moments of the police body-worn camera, you are watching this life or death moment unfold. Law enforcement is trying to make sense of it all. Inside the bedroom, you can see law enforcement trying to help Eric Richens. He is on his back on the ground. He has no pulse. He's not breathing. And they're using a CPR machine, so you can hear this sort of rhythmic sound.
Okay. What's your first name? Yeah, let me talk to you out here for a second. Let them do their work in there. So what happened today?
He was just fine. We were fine.
When you say we were fine, what time did you see him when he was alert?
We had a drink together at 9 to celebrate something at work.
Hours earlier, they were celebrating a big financial win for her real estate business.
She mentions they've had a cocktail before bed. She mentions that her son has night terrors and that she'd been asleep with him.
When I sleep with my kids, I'll wake up and I go back in my own bed.
Mm-hmm. Where are your children now?
Just sleep in that room. 2 are awake with their ear to the door. I go out, I go out, please don't take them out.
Okay.
At one point, the officer asked if she would like to call anybody, and she mentioned she wants to call her mom.
Here, you can use my phone.
I got a call. It was Corey. Said, Mom, you need to come up here.
Something's wrong with Eric. The police have girls are here. I don't know what's happening.
I said, something's happened. She said, Eric.
Does he have any medical conditions or anything like that?
He has Lyme's disease.
Lyme's disease?
Nothing major.
So they're asking questions like, does he have any, health ailments?
So no heart problems or anything like that?
No.
So while she's talking to the officers, she says that sometimes he takes a gummy to sleep, but she also tells them she's not sure whether he took one that night.
It's like a gummy, as in like a THC gummy? Okay. Does he have any history of illicit drug use or anything in the past year? No, never.
As I pull in the driveway, 3 cops come running at me, asking who I am. I went running through the house to get to Corey, and it was just devastating. She was in total shock. I had no idea, not only as a mother, what to do for her, but as a person, how to help a person in shock.
Oh my God.
I went and talked to the boys, and they're just confused. They're not crying because they don't know what's going on. They just know a lot of cops are there.
Corey Richens' mother, Lisa Darden, says that he got weekly allergy shots, and maybe that has something to do with his medical condition.
You didn't look good last night.
He looked pale last night, and I asked if you were okay, and he said yeah, but he was saying his chest was hurting.
I had seen him that day, and I said, oh my God, what is wrong with you? You look horrible.
For a moment, the deputy walks away from Corey Richens, and you can see a conversation between him, another officer, and an EMT.
I'm wondering if he had an aneurysm or something with all the blood. There's a lot of blood for some unknown reason. A little bit coming out as soon as we start doing compressions when the blood came out. So.
Okay. All right.
I don't know.
The amount of blood was sort of surprising to the paramedic, and this leads to the initial hypothesis of an aneurysm.
My husband's active. He didn't just die in his sleep. This is insane.
Eric was very athletic. You would never expect an aneurysm, but that's what they're telling us. They don't know. They're saying an aneurysm, and you just can't believe he's gone.
In the body cam footage, you actually hear Eric's sister, Katie, before you see her. She's moaning and she's screaming out, and it's the raw guttural pain that you hear when you've just learned that someone you love has died.
In the video, you see Katie take Corey and Eric's young boys upstairs and away from the turmoil.
But at one point, Katie even can hardly breathe.
It's natural, okay? Just take a deep breath. Take a deep breath.
Okay, I gotta breathe. Oh my God, I gotta breathe. I just talked to him like a couple hours ago.
At 3:58 a.m., Eric Richens is officially declared dead, but it's also noted that he appears to have been dead for quite some time before they arrived at the residence.
The next thing is our detective and our medical examiner's going to respond to the location. They're going to do their investigation and document everything. And then most likely, because of his age, his health and everything else, most likely.
The county coroner's office has an obligation, a legal requirement really, to investigate forensically any unexpected death. Whenever you have a young man like this who dies mysteriously, you can bet they're going to do an autopsy.
This is the night of a tragic end, but the beginning of a mystery that will take years to unravel.
The night that Eric died, Corey says that they were celebrating. They were celebrating what was going to be her most ambitious purchase yet for her real estate business. A distressed mansion in Midway, Utah that she hoped to buy for millions, flip it, and sell it for millions more.
She was so excited about it and the possibilities for it.
This was a very big moment for Corey Richens. Corey grew up working for her aunt's cleaning company, cleaning the toilets of the rich people who lived in mansions in Park City. Corey would dream that one day she would be the one that owned the mansions and not the one cleaning the toilets. This was Corey's moment to say, look, I did it. I made something of myself, and now I'm on the other side. Corey grew up in a family that moved a lot.
My parents worked construction, so we would move every 2-3 months growing up. We weren't poor by any stretch, but we weren't wealthy by any stretch either. My parents did what they had to do to get by.
When she got to junior high, her family really made a home in Heber City, Utah. It's also part of Summit County. It's a beautiful mountain town. And there she finds a really close group of girlfriends.
We just had a really good core group of friends. And I mean, the text we'd get every weekend was, hey, where's the party at? And then we also played sports. And then we were in the same classes together. And we just kind of evolved from there.
She's on the cheer team. In high school, she's playing tennis. And she seems to have really found a home and belonging.
She was a tough cookie. Anybody said anything wrong about us, you could, kind of always count on Corey to handle it.
Corey and Eric met when Corey was working at a Home Depot.
Home Depot paid the best. It was brand new, it was in Park City, and it paid really well for cashiers.
He was coming into the Home Depot a lot because of his stonemasonry business, and they hit it off and started talking, and people remember, sparks flying and instant chemistry.
He was significantly older than her.
She just thought the world of Eric. Eric was it.
Eric grew up in Bountiful, Utah. Went to high school at Woods Cross. The Richens owned a cattle ranch in Summit County. And he grew up working on this ranch. His sisters rode horses, they had animals, they were outdoorsmen.
Eric was one of 3 children with 2 sisters, Amy and Katie, and he was very close to his mother who had died in 2018.
Eric grew up a member of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, also known as the Mormon Church. His dad shares that it was one of the most important things that they wanted to instill in their children was faith and religion. So much so that Eric went on a 2-year mission for the church to Mexico City, and then came back and started his stonemasonry business.
Eric was a very dynamic individual.
He worked hard, but he also played hard. He had ATVs, he camped, he explored.
Eric was a big-time hunter, go to Africa, big trophy hunting stuff.
They began dating. Corey became pregnant with their first child, and they married soon after.
The marriage is a backyard ceremony. Family and friends gather. Corey is about to walk down the aisle, and Eric's mother present her with a prenup. And the prenup says that his stonemasonry business belongs to him, and that the only way that she would benefit from that business would be if he were to die while they are married.
Corey was pretty distraught over it, but ultimately she signed it. She loved Eric, she wanted to marry Eric, so she went along to get along, I guess.
I don't think it's a secret that Eric's family, or at least parts of Eric's family, didn't approve of Corey.
It was a rough start at the beginning, and once that got passed, they had a good wedding.
Corey and Eric ended up having 3 boys in 4 years.
She planned that. She was a planner, and that was her plan. Corey was everything you'd probably want as a mom.
She loved her boys. Her boys are her world. And when she wasn't working, she was with her kids.
From Boy Scout leader to soccer to you name it, she's involved in everything.
Eric really, he was a dedicated dad.
He was a soccer coach for the boys.
My last memory of Eric was me in their living room playing soccer with his son, you know, and Eric was sitting in his chair, like sitting back like this, giggling, while his son kicked my ass in soccer, you know, and he was really proud of it.
Eric's business has become incredibly successful. It's $1 million business, C&E Masonry.
And they have a very affluent life. They're taking trips together.
My first cruise was with them. They would go out to fancy restaurants. Yeah, they had money to spend.
At the beginning of all, Corey stayed home with the children, but at some point, Corey wanted more, and she started a real estate business.
In 2019, Corey starts K. Richens Realty, which is her home flipping business. That first year, Corey buys and resells a property to a family that says they found their dream home.
Guess who's homeowners? Me, and him, and me, and him, and me. We just bought a house!
Just 2 years later, Corey is managing 15 renovation projects.
Corey's making a very good living.
It's expanding quickly. She's buying a lot of properties, and by all accounts, it is very successful. This looks like the all-American perfect family. A beautiful home, a beautiful family, beautiful children, and 2 thriving businesses.
What's your first name? Yeah, let me talk to you.
Nobody ever thought Eric was going to die.
Of course, Eric Richens, a dedicated father, has provided for his children. But this grieving widow is about to discover her future won't be quite what she thought.
Eric's sister, Amy, says this home isn't yours.
They're screaming back and forth. I stepped in between the two of them.
Eric would be dead.
Eric was beloved in the community, and many people come and gather at the family home to sort of celebrate his life.
There were just constant people coming in and out of the house, paying their condolences. We were just, you know, reminiscing about Eric.
We were all just there to support Corey, keep the boys occupied, keep their minds sort of off of, you know, what happened.
We were literally talking about Eric the entire night and reason, dancing and listening to his favorite songs. One of our friends is shotgunning a beer.
Richard?
Richard?
Richard, yep.
And it's not the way everybody else may celebrate, but that's how we did it, because that's what Eric would have done with us.
At one point, you know, they're playing music, and Cody Johnson's Till You Can't comes on, and this is Eric.
Very obvious meaning, live until you can't, you know, and to know that we just lost somebody so suddenly, it put things in perspective.
Yeah, if you got a chance, take it.
Corey's dancing with her 3 sons, and Eric's sister Amy films the dance.
And there was this light that kind of projected around them, and she's like, I swear Eric's dancing with them right now. Like, it was special.
And it's this real moment of sort of solidarity between the 2 families.
But that solidarity appears to be short-lived.
The morning after that gathering, there is a dispute, an argument between Corey and Eric's sister, Amy. Corey realizes that Eric's will is in a safe.
She seemed a little adamant about getting that will, and she was pretty positive that it was in the safe, but she didn't know what the combination was.
Eric Richens' sister, Amy, is at the house, and a locksmith shows up to access the safe.
You just hear like this blood-curdling scream as I ran out into the garage. And Amy had seen the sign on a truck that said locksmith or something. She flipped out and told Corey, you know, you're not supposed to be getting into the safe.
And then Amy drops a bomb. She tells Corey that Eric had secretly set up his trust and will, and Corey was largely cut out.
They're screaming back and forth. I stepped in between the 2 of them. Eventually, the police showed up.
In the midst of all of this, Corey wants to fact check what's going on, and they call the estate planner. So the estate planner ends up confirming to Corey that right around 2020, Eric had created an estate and that his sister Katie was in charge of that and the executor.
He makes his sons the beneficiary of the trust. He puts the house in the trust.
And that's when those words of "it's not your home" came out. And Corey's like, "It is my house. I've lived here for 10 years. You know, what are you talking about?"
Amy told authorities that Corey punched her in the face and the neck. Corey is then arrested and charged with assault.
She ends up pleading no contest, but she is found guilty of assault.
To think this is happening 2 days after Eric's death, and then these two families have to see each other again at Eric's funeral?
The funeral itself, I think, went off very well, but you could already see the animosity between the two families. It's contentious.
Oh, the funeral was incredibly uncomfortable. Corey stood in one, and then his family stood in like another area. Yeah, it was a very obvious divide immediately, and they wouldn't talk to each other.
There really wasn't much reference to Corey. There wasn't a lot of love going on.
It was over-the-top, lavish casket. It was like a horse and buggy. It was grand. It was very country. It was just the most uncomfortable funeral I've ever been at. His 40th birthday was just a couple weeks after the funeral. Like, his clothes had already been taken down, and she wasn't wearing her wedding ring, and I thought that was a little odd. I mean, it wasn't even a month.
As the months passed, Corey filed a civil lawsuit against Eric's sister, Katie, disputing the trust.
And Corey seems to continue to adjust to life as a single mother and a businesswoman.
Corey talks a lot about how important routine is to getting through the process of grief. And so, usually at nighttime, this is when you read to your children, and she was saying that they looked for something to read that would answer some of these questions, and she found nothing.
She said, "I have looked everywhere, and I can't find a book on grieving for children." She said, "I wonder if I could write one."
Corey Richins self-published a book called Are You With Me?
The first part of the book is actually written from the child's perspective, the little boy who's wondering if his dad is with him.
Corey actually used a ghostwriter in order to create this book.
Are you at my soccer game when I scored that goal for you? I looked for you in the crowd, but you weren't there. Did you see it?
And then later on in the book, it switches to the deceased father's perspective, and he sort of starts saying, "Yes, I am with you.
I am with you when you scored that goal for me. You couldn't hear me cheer for you, but I yelled and clapped as loud as I could, just like always."
Corey dedicates the book to my amazing husband and a wonderful father. And then there is a drawing of the family of 5. You see Corey and Eric together with their 3 children and the dog.
I will forever love you, my sweet baby, until we see each other again. Yes, I am with you.
In March 2023, Corey Richins goes on these local radio and TV stations talking about the book.
Starts 2.
Hey, good morning. Happy Friday, everybody. Thank you for tuning in.
We got an email, wrote into the station. It was Corey saying that she had just written what she believed to be was the first book for kids about coping with grief, and that she would love the chance to share that on Good Things Utah.
My kids and I kind of wrote this book on the different emotions and grieving processes that we've experienced last year.
And to make sense and process, I'm sure.
Yes, exactly.
What a shock this must be for this poor woman. My heart went out to her.
I'm new to all of this, so kind of doing research and reading books and things to try and understand, not only how to grieve as a widow, as a wife, but also, with my kids, how to help them understand what just happened.
But the big shock happened a couple of days later when we get an anonymous email. And there's just one line, and it's in all capital letters with many exclamation marks at the end, and it says, she killed her husband.
Thank you, Corey. Thank you. While Corey has moved on with her life and is promoting her children's book about coping with grief, authorities have been digging into the circumstances surrounding Eric's death.
Were you first on anything?
We were second.
And there was blood before they...
A little bit coming out as soon as we start doing compressions.
Originally, it was one of the EMTs on scene who suggests that maybe Eric had an aneurysm.
I wonder if he had an aneurysm or something with all the blood.
And I think that made a lot of sense to the family on scene right then, because what else would it be that would make a healthy 39-year-old man all of a sudden stop breathing in the middle of the night?
So law enforcement says that there will be an autopsy. They think it might have been an aneurysm, but they don't know.
For the people that knew Eric, the autopsy was absolutely shocking.
The initial autopsy report comes back, and it's drug intoxication, fentanyl, as the cause of death.
5 times the amount of fentanyl that could kill anyone.
Eric did not do drugs, not to my understanding, you know, and Corey was saying the same thing, so it was just baffling.
They also found that it was not medical grade fentanyl. So this is nothing that was prescribed by a doctor.
This would have been, you know, drugs off the street, the type of drugs that you would procure on a corner and don't necessarily know the origins of.
The autopsy report jumpstarts a criminal investigation because this is not a natural death. This is either an accidental overdose or someone killed Eric.
Now police officers realize they have to find the origin of the drug.
Police get a search warrant to search the Richens' home for illegal drugs.
Investigators go in, they seize Corey's electronics, Eric's electronics, and they search the house for anything that could possibly have traces of fentanyl.
But they don't find any fentanyl.
During this search, Corey is stopped by then lead detective Jamie Woody, and at that moment, Corey says what everybody else is saying, that Eric doesn't do drugs, that she's shocked by the cause of death.
Corey Richens talks to the chief medical examiner and essentially has a bunch of questions, and she goes down a list of the various items that were found in the stomach contents.
The third one, the acetyl, I don't know how you say that.
Acetylfentanyl.
Oh.
Yeah, that's just a variant of fentanyl that is usually only present in the setting of illicitly manufactured fentanyl.
Illicit manufactured, like a pharmacy?
No, like fentanyl that's manufactured by drug cartels as opposed to by pharmaceutical companies.
Oh, good Lord.
It's pretty clear she's kind of reading from the report and asking individual questions about each part.
I was just trying to figure out, you know, if we found out anything new.
Definitely, you know, death from fentanyl intoxication, and we still don't know how he got it into him.
Yeah, and I mean, is that anything you could ever find out?
When the toxicology report comes back, Eric's family comes forward to law enforcement and says, well, we have some concerns about the toxicology report. Eric didn't do drugs.
The Richens family was immediately suspicious that Corey had a role in Eric's death.
According to Eric's family, while it seemed like Corey and Eric were flying high, when he died, it was a very different reality.
Eric discovered actually in 2020 that Corey had taken out a loan to help her business and did so without telling him.
Corey had taken out a $250,000 line of credit against the home, which Eric solely owned and had no idea about.
That made them all start to be very concerned with Corey's financial situation, and that is actually what caused him to change the trust, because he wanted to make sure his children were taken care of.
The family says that when Eric finds out, he visits a divorce attorney. I think it's like, how can you deceive your spouse like that? When you own a home, the idea that you're going to take out a line of credit, that they're never going to realize this, and you're somehow going to go out and spend $250,000 and they're just never going to get that that's what was going on behind the scenes, it's pretty shocking.
They end up going to counseling and they do not separate. But there is this idea, you know, she's lied about their finances. Even if there's the facade of things being good within the marriage, there's still a real permanent rift between the couple, and the trust has been broken there.
But as it turns out, allegations of financial crimes are not the only evidence investigators are uncovering.
A year after Eric's death, Corey's finances are not looking good at all. She thought she was going to be getting an inheritance, And now the weight of her debt is bearing down on her.
She's in a lot of trouble here. She owes a lot of money, millions and millions of dollars.
It was hard for her that year, financially and emotionally. Her kids, were crying at night because their dad is gone. And she has Eric's family who are blaming her for his death.
Emotionally, she kind of seemed like she's hanging on by a thread. Corey was also trying to run this business that she was doing, and she just seemed really stressed out.
One of Corey's biggest financial burdens was this mansion she had purchased.
A luxurious piece of property on the most beautiful land.
She buys it for close to $3 million. But at this point, the mansion is far from finished.
Corey Richens commissioned this YouTube video of the house construction. It even included a virtual view of the planned luxe amenities.
Corey had talked about turning the Midway Mansion into an event space where people could have weddings. It needed a lot of work, estimated to be a couple million.
Corey is allegedly making all of this work through hard money loans. And these are loans that are short term, they cost more, they tend to be riskier.
But Corey didn't have money from Eric's estate to help, and eventually lost the mansion to foreclosure.
The fallout from Corey's financial strain allegedly ends up harming one of her best friends, a woman named Chelsea Barney.
Corey's been helping her best friend buy a home, her first home. So she says, look, I'll get the loan, you'll sign the deed, the home will be yours, and you can pay the mortgage each month. She was a waitress and a manager at a restaurant, and she had saved all of her tip money for years.
She gave Corey $45,000 as a down payment.
She was always on time with her payment. And so when all of a sudden she was getting notices that her home might be in trouble, she called and asked for a copy of the deed.
Essentially, Chelsea had found out that the deed was never properly filed with the county.
She never was the owner of the home.
The house is foreclosed on, Chelsea and her family are evicted, and to add insult to injury, all this money she saved up to buy this home, it's gone.
And there's another family who also say their dealings with Corey did not end well.
We just bought a house!
Taryn and Alec Wright buy this home for their family. It's been remodeled, there's a view of the mountains, it has a great yard.
But once they were in that home, they discovered a major problem.
They claim they find mold in the walls, and they say there was water coming in and that everyone in the family got sick. Nosebleeds, asthma, really unpleasant stuff.
Corey denied that she had any knowledge of any problems with the home and that the home had been inspected prior to their closing on it.
The Wrights filed a lawsuit and told 2020 they lost their house to foreclosure, saying they've been financially ruined by the cost of a long-term temporary rental while still paying for that home.
Meanwhile, there are people who are starting to say out loud what only a few knew, that Eric had gotten ill in the past and he suspected Corey was behind it.
Eric and Corey were on a trip to Greece in 2019.
They were out having dinner one night and everyone was ordering drinks. Eric had just recently got Lyme's disease from a hunting trip. He's taking medication for it. On that medication, you're not allowed to have alcohol. It will make you very, very sick. Eric ordered a virgin drink. When they brought it over, he tasted it and said that he thought that there was alcohol in it. He started not feeling well and they ran up to the hotel room.
He called his sister Katie and told her that he thought that Corey had tried to poison him.
I don't believe Eric said that. I don't believe he ever said that. They were in a restaurant when he got sick, so the only one serving him was a waitress.
Then actually on Valentine's Day of 2022, so only weeks before his death, Corey had ordered a sandwich from a local diner.
The server answered the phone, and a to-go order was placed, a Bald Mountain Bagel sandwich, which is just a toasted bagel with bacon, egg, and cheese, avocado, and sliced tomato. And 12 minutes later, Corey came in and picked it up and paid for it.
When she left the sandwich for him, she left a note, basically just saying, "Happy Valentine's Day, I love you."
After just a single bite, Eric seemed to believe he was having an allergic reaction. He used his son's EpiPen, took some Benadryl, and went to sleep. And when he woke up, he texted friends, "You almost lost me this time. I think she might have poisoned me."
And police are about to learn just where that poison could be coming from.
Speed.
Corey came to me about a year after she said her husband had died. All she had said was that he passed away and she was ready for some new family photos. So she wanted to get her hair done to look cute in the pictures with her sons. I was really impressed with how she was handling that situation with her little boys and how much she was doing with her life. Corey spent 5 or 6 hours in my chair. We did a full color on her and then we did her extension install after that. I think she ended up spending around $2,900.
It's been a year since Eric Richens' death, and Corey is moving on with life. But Eric's family, however, is frustrated. They say they're not seeing progress in the investigation, and they're dealing with the back and forth lawsuits over the estate. So they decide to hire a private investigator.
This PI pulls phone records, looks at thousands of text messages, pulls electronics, gets cell phone data.
So when the private investigator gets into these phone records, he discovers that there are essentially 3 people that Corey is communicating with all the time. One is Eric, the other is her mother, and the third person is a woman named Carmen Lauber.
This is between the months right before and right after Eric Richens dies. So why is Corey talking to Carmen Lauber so much?
Carmen worked for my sister cleaning houses and cleaning the fix and flips. And Corey would call her and say, "Hey, I need you to go to this address, clean this house."
This woman has a checkered past, including a whole bunch of drug stuff.
With the information that the private investigators gathered, he's forwarding all of that to the Summit County Sheriff's Office.
A new lead detective is put on the case, Detective Jeff O'Driscoll, and his theory is to start over, start fresh.
Carmen is in a court-ordered drug program, and Detective O'Driscoll takes the opportunity to search her trash. He finds drug paraphernalia, and that's a violation. Now he's got probable cause to search her home. Not only do they find enough evidence to bring drug charges, they find a gun, and she's not allowed to have one since she's a convicted felon. And they notice something that stops them in their tracks. They're looking at a wall full of inspirational sayings that she's posted, and they see, taped to a mirror, a copy of Eric's obituary.
At this point, they've really zeroed in on Corey as being, the prime suspect to Eric's passing, and they need somebody to kind of connect those dots. Without Carmen, police really didn't have much of a case.
So can Carmen tell them if Corey had any connection to the fentanyl?
Write down something as far as you remember it right now, and then we can work on the details as we continue to talk about it, as we check phone records, as we, do all our part, our side to corroborate what you're saying, right?
Hey, now, everything I just told you, I probably remember what order I told you in.
It's okay, and that's fine, because you know what? We want to make sure we get the right story. And so the way you're remembering it is, is all you can give us. You can't make something up that you don't remember, right?
Right.
She tells police that not only has Corey asked her to get fentanyl, but she did so on 2 separate occasions, and she even said things like, the first batch wasn't strong enough.
The thought was insinuated that she wanted you to get something that somebody could die from.
I know one thing, that when we got one, it wasn't dark and that. I don't even know how fentanyl really goes.
Carmen explained she got one set of drugs sometime in February and then was asked to get stronger stuff, and then got another dose of drugs a second time around.
So Carmen's facing prosecution and years of prison time.
The only exception to that, and the only thing that they're willing to kind of help you out with, is if you can help us out with this.
And by so, he means like, give us the details that will ensure Corey gets convicted of murder.
Oh my God.
This is a serious case, Carmen. I'm not
that
trying
is way more of my.
I know.
You got Carmen, who's looking at 25 years to life for drug charges and gun charges. She's going to tell the cops whatever they want to hear. And they're making a plea deal.
The goal is to convict Corey for an aggravated murder. These parallel drug investigations, those aren't priority.
Carmen says her dealer was Robert Crozier. He's already in custody for other drug crimes, and he's also detoxing. He says that he and Carmen would meet at a gas station where he would sell her the drugs. Carmen says she would hide the drugs at one of the houses Corey was trying to flip. Crozier says it wasn't a regular thing.
Yeah, I met her just 2 times. I think I talked to her a couple more times after, but just to see, you know what I mean? Hey, you know, because somebody's spending, you know what I mean? You know, $500-600.
Is that what 30 would run about $500 or $600?
Yeah, something like that.
Okay.
It's not just the drug sales themselves, it's the timing.
There were 30 text messages exchanged between Carmen and Corey on Valentine's Day 2022, the day of that infamous sandwich.
And the other day is February 26th, which is right before Eric's death.
Now law enforcement has the drug link through Carmen, and they have the financial information.
Corey Richens was in massive debt. She was trying to funnel money back into her own real estate and house flipping business.
You add this all up, and it's finally enough for police to make their move.
A woman who wrote a children's book about grief after the death of her husband now faces charges for his murder.
Corey Richens is charged with 1 count of aggravated murder and 3 counts of possession of narcotics with intention to distribute.
I woke up in the morning to headlines of Utah mom and children's grief book author arrested and charged with murder.
It was shocking. It was unbelievable.
I just couldn't fathom it. Like, not Corey. You know, why her? Like, it just became this huge story because she wrote that children's book.
They are trying to ruin and convict an innocent mother.
The simplest answer is often the correct one. It was most likely an accidental overdose.
I will take it to my grave that Corey did not do this. I too believe it's an accidental overdose.
For Corey Richens, she's either victim or killer. There is nothing in between. Is she a widow who had lost her husband and the father of her children tragically, or did she plan this all out to get from under some massive debt?
In my experience, money and love are 2 of the most powerful motivators for a murder. Now, police know about the money, and there may be a romantic angle as well. If Corey wasn't with Eric on Valentine's Day, and she wasn't, who was she with?
My kids and I kind of wrote this book on the different emotions and grieving processes that we've experienced last year.
And to make sense and process, I'm sure.
Right now, we have the arrest of a Utah mom who wrote a children's book about grief after her husband's death. She has now been charged with killing him.
I'm new to all of this as a widow, as a wife, but also, with my kids.
I'm thinking she's just powering through. She's trying her best, maybe not to cry, maybe not to get too emotional.
Toxicology report found 5 times a lethal dosage of fentanyl in his system.
This last page, particularly poignant,
I will forever love you, my sweet baby, until we see each other again. Yes, I am with you.
Written as though it's in the father's words for their boys.
You are an amazing woman, and we thank you for being vulnerable and sharing this and touching the lives of others.
Thank you. I really appreciate being here. So
thank you, Corey.
guys.
Thank you. All right, GTU is back with more.
State prosecutors say they do have enough evidence against Corey Richens to proceed with a trial.
The imminent charge of murder, allegedly at this point, but still, naturally, you're thinking, can I believe what she said?
On May 8th, 2023, Corey is arrested and charged with the aggravated murder of her husband, as well as several counts of possession of illicit drugs with the intent to distribute.
Finding that out was such a shock. I mean, talking about this now, it still blows my mind.
This could all very well be the perfect crime. A storybook ending where she thought she couldn't get caught.
It's a story that resonates because it's sort of this idea that she's two very different people, a Jekyll and Hyde situation. She was so empathetic at first glance, and then the story becomes much more sinister.
In a June 2023 hearing where Corey's going to find out if she makes bail or not, she appears in street clothes, but she is in shackles. And she has this look of confidence on her face, almost as if she thinks this is still going to go her way.
Prosecutors call 3 witnesses to testify as to why Corey Richens should not be released pending prosecution.
And the defendant came to the door and wrote a check from her business for $1,300 for the purchase of the fentanyl.
The initial bail hearing had a forensic accountant going into her finances. It went over the phone records and some of her searches on her phone after her husband's death.
During the bail hearing, the cell phone expert presented evidence that prosecutors said was a sign of consciousness of guilt.
Consciousness of guilt can be virtually anything that a criminal defendant does that is consistent with them understanding that they're guilty. Some of the more interesting internet searches included luxury prisons for the rich in America, can cops uncover deleted messages, iPhone, if someone is poisoned, what does it go down on the death certificate as, and finally, what is a lethal dose of fentanyl?
Those internet searches did not come until after Corey had been given a search warrant that was executed on her home. That search warrant laid out that they believed that Eric had died from a lethal dose of fentanyl, that she had murdered him with it. And so, to now say, well, she searched it, so it's the consciousness of guilt, I think it's human nature. Someone hands you something and says, hey, we think you poisoned them with fentanyl, and you're like, I don't even know what a lethal dose of fentanyl is. What do? We Google search.
Prosecutors argue that the motivation behind Eric Richens' death is that Corey Richens was in massive debt.
Being bad with money does not make you a murderer.
The defense makes the argument that the prosecution has no case because they have no way of showing how the drugs ultimately got into Eric's system.
They went through the home and they found absolutely no forensic evidence to substantiate their allegation that she must have given Eric fentanyl in this drink.
But perhaps the most compelling argument was made by Eric's sister, Amy Richens, during her victim's impact statement.
Eric was a family man who always strove to be the absolute best father and husband. I go through the terrible sequence of events. I wonder when he realized he was in mortal danger. This last year has been a living hell for our family. We have watched as Corey has paraded around portraying herself as a grieving widow and victim while trying to profit from the death of my brother.
But the circumstances of this case weigh soundly against granting pretrial release of any kind.
Since Corey was arrested, she's been held in the Summit County Jail. Corey not only has been separated from her children, at this point she lost custody of her children.
The state of Utah takes her kids away, even though she's presumed innocent, because Utah has a law that allows the court to do that when one spouse is suspected of causing the death of the other spouse.
And it's while she's in jail that authorities make what appears to be a stunning discovery.
Deputies did what's called tossing her cell, where they go in, they essentially perform a search, and they found a letter that the prosecution believed to be very, very significant in the case.
Since her arrest, Kouri Richins, the aspiring writer, is being held in Utah Summit County Jail, and she's at it again.
During a sweep of Kouri's cell, an officer uncovers a 4-page letter. At the top of the first page, it says, "Walk the dog," with an exclamation point. And prosecutors argue that this letter is a message for Kouri's mother to relay to her brother Ronnie what he needs to say to help get her off.
It reads in part, "Here's what I'm thinking, but you have to talk to Ronnie. He would probably have to testify to this. Eric told Ronnie he gets pain pills and fentanyl from Mexico from the workers at the ranch. Reword this however he needs to make the point with Mexico and drugs."
Prosecutors say this is evidence of witness tampering, of influencing a person's testimony that could potentially take the stand in her case, and providing a story that is alternative to how Eric had gone to Mexico and possibly obtained drugs while there.
Of course, that's hugely significant from the perspective of detectives and the prosecution.
I mean, she just explained to me that it was some fairy tale book that was loosely based on what's going on, but there's a whole bunch of stuff in there that makes it very obvious that it's not true.
Kouri has always maintained that the Walk the Dog letter was part of a greater manuscript. Not only was it attorney-client communication, it was also attorney work product. Is this damaging? Does she admit that she committed murder in it? Absolutely not.
So the question becomes whether a jury will see this as, Kouri insists, as a fictional manuscript, or further evidence of her guilt.
First with the death of her husband and this children's book, Are You With Me? And now with this 4-page letter, you see Kouri writing herself into the plot. It is Kouri's own written word that prosecutors keep coming back to as evidence that she is, in fact, at the center of this.
The Camas mom, accused of killing her husband and then writing a children's book about grief, is facing more criminal charges.
So in March 2024, the prosecution amended their complaint to include an allegation of attempted murder.
This is the attempted murder charge for the poisoned Valentine's Day sandwich that Eric ate just weeks before his death.
Eric supposedly saying that he thinks his wife is trying to poison him it's absolutely absurd.
And the heat is about to be turned up even higher on Kouri. With all the media coverage on her case, someone was watching. And that someone reached out to Eric Richins' family, wanting to clear a guilty conscience.
That someone is 41-year-old Josh Grossman, who Kouri had hired as a handyman at a home that she was renovating.
Authorities learned that Grossman and Kouri had been carrying on a years-long affair. According to investigators, the lovers texted almost daily.
I want you today, every day, not just sexually, but physically, mentally, every day. When I wake up, I do want a future together.
So in addition to the financial motive here, we also have a totally separate motive, and that is she's having an affair where she's repeatedly communicating with this man, talking about how much she wants to be with him and how much she loves him.
Among the frequent text exchanges, in February of 2022, Kouri wrote, "If he could just go away and you could just be here, life would be so perfect. I love you."
You know, I'll acknowledge the timing of the texts are not ideal. You know, is this evidence of murder? No. But is it one of those things that may weigh in the back of a juror's mind when they're thinking about how to weigh all this other evidence? I think that absolutely becomes the case.
We're following breaking news out of Summit County for you. The judge granted a request from the defense team to withdraw from her case.
Suddenly, defense attorney Sky Lazaro withdraws from the case, citing a conflict of interest involving her law firm.
And this preliminary hearing is a critical right
that every single... Replacing Lozaro is public defender Kathy Nestor and co-counsel Wendy Lewis. Together, the defense attorneys have more than 30 years of experience.
Whenever legal counsel changes in a case, this will heavily stall any sort of outcome because now a new attorney has to come on, build a rapport with Corey, and learn the case inside out.
In May 2024, just days after her new lawyers are appointed, Corey makes her first public statement in an audio recording released to ABC News.
The world has yet to hear who I really am, what I've really done, or what I really didn't do. What I've really done is protect Eric at all costs. What I really didn't do is murder my husband. I could not and would not ever do that to Eric, or anyone for that matter. I'm asking the world to give me a chance.
And Corey Richins will have that chance in court. While the narcotics charges were dropped, she has pleaded not guilty to the remaining charges, including 2 counts of insurance fraud. One of those charges alleges that Corey took out a life insurance policy on Eric without his knowledge.
When you throw in a financial motive, that's big, that's huge. That she needed Eric Richins dead, that's financial motive is massive. It's big. But then you throw in an affair, you throw in a love story. Now you're talking multiple motives.
The state first has to prove that he was murdered. You know, that's step one. And they've got to be able, if I'm the jury, I mean, I want to know how. You know, you can't just say he died, she was there, it must have been her, you know, because she had an affair. They're going to have a hard time connecting those dots.
All eyes on Utah this morning as the Corey Richins murder trial begins.
The murder trial of Corey Richins is now underway.
Nearly 3 years after her arrest, Corey Richins is in court right now for day one of that trial.
We'll be inside of that courtroom all week, bringing you the latest.
I knew that this trial would be big. I didn't know it was going to be this big.
This story, just in a quiet community that doesn't have things like this happening, is obviously a pretty big deal.
This is a small courthouse, sort of off the beaten path in the beautiful mountains of Utah, near Park City, Utah.
Most people expect that there will be 12 people on a jury, but in this case, there were 8 jury members, 6 men, 2 women.
My name is Laura, and I was the jury foreperson in the Corey Richins murder trial. Before being selected as a juror, I had heard or read just a couple headlines, but I never really looked at stories. I really knew nothing about the case.
Corey looks nervous. She's worried. She doesn't have that same confidence she did a few years ago.
While the situation appears tough for Corey, she still has her supporters.
I'll be in the courtroom right there with her family, supporting her every second, every minute, every day, as long as it takes. She will beat this. Mark my words.
All right, we'll now proceed with opening statements.
The prosecutor, Brad Bloodworth, is very direct. He gets right to business.
In opening statements, the prosecutor had a laundry list of motives as to why Corey would have killed her husband.
The evidence will prove that on the day that Eric died, Corey Richins owed over $4.5 million to over 20 different lenders, that Corey Richins was chronically unhappy in her marriage, that Corey Richins murdered Eric for his money and to get a fresh start at life.
On the defense side, they start with someone else's voice, Corey's voice, the 911 call she made the night Eric died.
911, I just had the emergency. My husband's not breathing. He's cold. And he's not breathing?
Those were the sounds of a wife becoming a widow.
The defense urged the jurors to focus on the 6 hours leading up to Eric's death and not 6 years prior.
So those 6 hours, somewhere in that time, Eric Richens died. Somewhere in that time, he ingested a fatal dose of fentanyl. What you're never going to hear is how that fentanyl got inside of him, because there is zero evidence of that.
The witnesses that the state started with were powerful.
Your Honor, the state calls Katie Richens Benson.
They called Eric's sister, Katie, to the stand.
That you received a phone call about Eric.
Yes, it was early in the morning.
Who called you?
My dad did.
What did he say?
It's not easy. He was screaming and crying and said, Eric's not breathing, Eric's not breathing. Sorry, guys. This was the worst in my life. I'm sorry.
The state needs to convince the jury that Corey purchased that lethal dose of fentanyl with the intention to kill.
When Carmen takes the stand, all eyes are on her. She makes or breaks this case for the state.
Please proceed.
Thank you, sir.
Remember, Carmen Lauber was facing a lot of trouble with the law, but now she's testifying with immunity. She made a deal with prosecutors if she tells the truth about how Corey Richens purchased fentanyl from her.
She's pretty much getting a out of jail free pass for her testimony.
She comes clean. The first part of her testimony is essentially Carmen Lauber laying out all of her sins for the entire world.
Have you ever sold drugs?
Yes.
Do you have a criminal history involving drugs?
Yes.
Carmen became very emotional on the stand. And yes, she was given a deal for her testimony. But if you believe her, she insists that isn't the only reason that she's doing this. She says she's trying to right a wrong for her role in all of this.
Did you ask Corey Richens about Eric's death?
Yes, I did.
What did you ask her?
I said, please tell me these pills were not for him. When they had mentioned that it was from an overdose, that hit hard. Only for the fact that if that's what happened, I needed to step up and take accountability of my part in this that happened and what I was asked for.
Defense attorneys love witnesses like Carmen because she has a criminal record. They are going to go after her on her credibility, especially about the drug charges.
And you lied about it?
Yes.
All right.
That's what addicts do when you're using.
That's true. Addicts lie. All right.
Active addicts.
Next, the state calls the person they say put those drugs in Carmen's hands, Robert Crozier. Remember, he's the one prosecutors say sold her the fentanyl that killed Eric.
Were you selling pills in late 2021 and early 2022?
Selling Roxy's then, yes.
But on cross-examination, the defense points out that he had changed his story and is now saying those pills weren't fentanyl.
When you initially agreed with detectives that you might have sold fentanyl, you were high, you were coming down, and you don't remember saying that specifically. True?
That is correct, yes.
All this testimony was crucial for attempting to piece together the how. But what was really mind-blowing was the why, and that testimony came from Corey's longtime friends.
Becky Lloyd is someone that was a friend of Corey and Eric, and someone that ended up working at C&E Masonry. Becky testifies that there was an evening in December during Christmas time that Corey and Becky started talking and having a bit of a heart-to-heart.
She talked about how she was feeling trapped. She was feeling like there wasn't an easy way forward out of the marriage. And she said that in many ways it would be better if he were dead.
Corey's lawyers pounce, challenging Becky's memory.
A couple of weeks after Eric died, you gave an interview about this conversation you and Corey had.
Yes.
And isn't it fair that in that first interview, you never mentioned anything about saying it would be better off if Eric was dead, did you?
I don't recall.
You don't recall?
I don't recall.
Okay.
Your Honor, the state calls Allie Stakings.
Allie Staking is called to the stand. This is Corey's best friend, someone she's known since middle school.
I've known I was going to take the stand for 4 years now, and it's been a nightmare. There was a lot of emotions in walking in the courtroom, and then seeing Corey, it felt like I was about to betray her going on the stand, and I didn't like that feeling.
Are you one of her best friends?
Yes. Yeah, I was, yeah. When I was asked on the stand if she was my best friend or not, I don't know, because I'm now learning a completely different side of this person that I knew and loved for the last 20 years.
Allie should be a strong witness for the prosecution. They want her to tell the jury about a conversation she had with Eric about that infamous Valentine's Day sandwich, but it sort of backfires on them.
He said that he thought that Corey had tried to poison him, but it was more of a funny story. It was like an allergic reaction is what we had thought it was. We were all laughing.
And that past laughter has now turned to loss.
I wish I could say it was nice to see my friend, but I miss my friend. But things are different now.
Having your best friend take the stand is one thing.
Your Honor, the state calls Robert Josh Grossman.
But when your ex-lover walks into the courtroom, well, that's just a whole other level.
Mr. Grossman, you need a minute or two?
I don't know what I need.
Please have a seat. Mr. Bloodworth, the state's next witness, please.
The most anticipated witness the state is about to call, it's a bombshell.
Your Honor, the state calls Robert Josh Grossman.
Josh Grossman is the man that Corey was having an affair with. She said she was in love with him.
And he's the one who wrote those text messages to Corey.
Do you solemnly swear the testimony you're about to give in the matter before the court to be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, subject to the pains and penalties of perjury?
The swearing in of a witness is usually a pretty routine thing in a courtroom, but not this one.
While he's being sworn in, they're asking if he's going to be honest. He doesn't know how to answer it.
Sir, have a seat for me if you don't mind.
I've never seen this moment before, where the judge has to explain what he needs to do.
Mr. Grossman, do you understand the difference between what's true and what's not true?
I do.
And then Josh says, okay, I understand. Yes, I'm going to be honest in my answers. And right away, Josh has our attention.
Sir, do you know Corey Richards?
I do.
And why did you move to Utah?
To work with her, help her flip houses.
Josh is quiet. He has this southern accent. He's a redhead, like Eric.
He served in the military, including combat in Iraq.
Eric came from an affluent ranching family, and Josh was a man from South Carolina who was essentially couch surfing.
She took care of me, you know. I lived for free. She gave me money whenever I needed it. I liked her, so I'd work for free.
His body is slouched. He fidgets.
During that time that you were romantically involved with Miss Richens, did you love her?
Yes.
During that time, did you feel that she loved you?
I think she did.
So this, of course, gives prosecutors more than just a financial incentive for Eric's death.
The prosecution introduced a series of text messages between Josh and Corey. They put them up on the screen for a painfully long period of quiet time, allowing everybody to read them.
They were sad. They were very corny at times. He said, I tend to fall head over heels in love with someone. Corey seemed a little less authentic, like she was kind of leading him on.
I want to know everything about you. It's part of being in love.
There's something specific you want to know? I will be up all night wondering, babe.
The texts ranged from poetic confessions of love, almost had like a middle school feeling about it.
I love you. I love talking to you, being with you. I don't have that in my marriage, and I really enjoy my relationship and love for you. But you're right. We both know this love triangle can't go on forever.
He looks so uncomfortable as the world reads his private text messages.
I love you. K, kind. O, outgoing. U, unique. R, romantic. I, inches away from signing her divorce papers and falling madly in love with her soulmate.
Too late. I have already fallen. Night.
There's this moment where he starts crying.
I'm watching this and wondering, what is the jury thinking right now?
We couldn't talk about it. You could see in people's faces, in their eyes, like, ugh. That was heartbreaking.
Josh presented himself as very sincere and genuine, sad, brokenhearted. It was kind of devastating to watch him on the stand.
The court, I think, was very patient with him.
Do you need a minute or two?
I don't know what I need.
Let's just start with that. Why don't we take a pause for a moment.
The text between Josh and Corey evolve. Corey sort of suggesting to Josh her dream life, which would be to live with him in the guest home of the Midway Mansion and run a event center together and raise children together.
I have a crazy dream. I divorce and come up with millions and millions. We buy Midway and live in guest house and rent out the huge house as a big event center. $15,000 a day. Raise some kids, have a little farm. Deal?
You see all of these exchanges, and they contextualize what that relationship was.
And then Corey sends her boyfriend a plea in the form of a text, and that's less than 48 hours before Eric is found dead.
She texts roughly, hang in until Friday. Well, what was Friday? Friday was the day Eric Richins died.
Life is going to be different, I promise. Can I try Friday? Give me a few days. Hang in there until then, please.
The relationship between Josh and Corey just fizzled out. It was in the weeks after Eric passed away.
He testifies that he and Corey take a drive, they stop, and they sit in her car and talk.
Josh testified that Corey asked him a very important question, perhaps a very revealing question.
What sort did she ask?
She asked if I had ever killed anybody.
And was that specific to killed anybody while serving in Iraq?
Right.
Did you respond?
I did.
Did she ask a follow-up question?
Yes.
Sir, what was that follow-up question?
She asked me how it made me feel or something along those lines.
Grossman's dramatic and emotional testimony comes to a close, and then something utterly mind-blowing unfolds in the courtroom with the defense team as they are about to present their case.
Ms. Lewis, Ms. Nestor, what's the plan?
Ready to go.
Who's defense counsel's first witness?
We have just a minute.
Yeah.
We have a couple of options.
Understood.
The prosecution's case took 13 days, and the defense's case was expected to go 7 to 10 days.
Corey's defense attorneys are whispering to each other back and forth, and it seems like they're trying to decide who to call first. But that is not what we got.
Your Honor, actually at this time, the defense intends to rest.
They said they were calling no one and also rested. It was an absolute shock.
I was very surprised that there was no defense.
So when the defense rested without presenting any witnesses, my mouth, I think, dropped open. There has to be another side of the story, and we can fill in the little holes. And then when they didn't call anyone, I was shocked.
Why would Corey Richins' defense rest without calling anyone? They may believe the prosecution didn't make out their case, that having any witness on the stand wouldn't make sense because they've already won their case.
Do you understand that you have the right to testify at trial?
Yes, I do.
Are you following your attorney's advice and waiving your right to testify at trial?
Yes, I am.
Prosecution and the defense have presented their closing arguments. Judge Mrazek instructs the jury and courts dismiss. Then, on the same day that the trial ends, and just within a few hours, there's word from the court.
Okay, I just received some news that a verdict is in.
No way.
If you feel overcome with emotion, just look down. We cannot have any outward reaction. Mark?
Yeah.
I told my kids early on that Eric had died, and my kids were devastated. I said along the way, sometimes it looks like Corey might have done it, but, you know, and then my kids would say, well, did she? And I'd say, I don't think so, but it sometimes looks like it.
There's absolutely no doubt in my mind that Corey is innocent. I know my little sister. She loves her boys way too much to take their father away from them.
State of Utah versus Corey Richins. Ms. Richins is present.
After deliberating for just under 3 hours, the jury informs the court they've come to an agreement.
The court is informed that the jury has reached a verdict. Would you please hand the verdict form to the deputy? Ms. Richins, please stand. Count 1, aggravated murder. We, the jury, unanimously find that the defendant, Corey Richins, is guilty of aggravated murder.
Corey Richins is found guilty on all counts.
The entire 3 hours was constant, robust, electrifying discussion. There were some people who were sort of on the fence with some of the elements, like they felt that she was guilty, but maybe the state didn't meet the burden. And so we focused on what some of those issues were. They gave them pause, and then we all discussed at length, and that helped us kind of come to the conclusion, and it helped people jump off the fence. To convict a woman of murder was absolutely heartbreaking.
Corey's friend, Allie Staking, watched the verdict live online.
Guilty.
Eric was my friend too. I didn't choose Corey over Eric, but I've lost both of them. She was somebody that meant a lot to me. Her family meant a lot to me, and they meant a lot to my kids. And it's a loss. Nobody wins in this.
After the verdict is read, Eric's family and friends gather outside of the courthouse and embrace each other.
Justice is served. Yep. Justice.
4 years ago, our family lost the brightest light. Eric is deeply loved and missed every single day. We are grateful to everyone who has worked tirelessly to bring justice for Eric. Our focus is now on honoring Eric's life and supporting his boys as we all continue to heal. Thank you all for being here.
In a statement to ABC News, the Richins family wrote that the justice system has now fairly run its course, and we believe the jury's verdict was just and accurate. There is a hole in our family that cannot be filled, but now at least we have definitive closure. Corey Richins will return to that courtroom to learn her sentence on May 13th, which is no ordinary day. That would have been Eric Richins' 44th birthday. She faces up to life in prison. And her legal troubles are far from over.
She's facing a whole other criminal indictment with multiple counts of mortgage fraud, money laundering, forgery, bad checks. These are serious allegations.
One of the real tragedies in this case is Eric and Corey's kids. Their father tragically passed away. Their mother's parental rights have been terminated. She has forever lost her children. Those children have been adopted by one of Eric's sisters.
There are 3 little boys at the heart of this.
Just love. They have a lot of love surrounding them. They're great boys, and they're gonna be fine.
He was an amazing father, brother, son, nephew, person, friend. He was an amazing person with the most contagious laugh out there.
I'll remember Eric's laugh. If I can hear it in my head. He needs to be remembered as just a loving dad. He had so much more life to live, and he wanted so much for his boys. I'm gonna remember just how much he loved them.
And that's our program for tonight. Thanks for watching. I'm David Muir.
And I'm Deborah Roberts. From all of us here at 2020 and ABC News, good night.